Bull is out there going for the stretch.
Real quick, we have breaking news. Legitimately.
Legitimately?
Jalen Hurts, 5-year, $255 million contract, the highest paid player in NFL history.
Wow.
That is no longer Deshaun Watson.
Is it fully guaranteed?
Includes 179.3 million guarantees.
Okay, so the big difference there is obviously he's got about 70% of his money guaranteed,
the
as
Lamar
opposed to
Jackson
Watson
situation.
Yeah,
Lamar
no, it
wanted
does.
to fully guarantee.
Yeah.
Hurts, 179 million.
Wow.
Shout out, first and foremost, before we get to this, shout out to that young brother, right? He was supposed to be the dude at Alabama. The guy came in, Tua came in, took his position.
Yeah.
He took his lumps. He went to Oklahoma, got better, got drafted in the second round. People wanted to get rid of him. And I watched this show called What Did I Do With My First Million? This dude is so responsible. He was like, yo, I got a little $20,000 car. I got my sister like a $20,000 car. I put the rest half of the money in the bank, and I went and put the down payment on my parents' house.
Good for
I didn't
him.
even buy the house. I just made payments on it. And so now for him to have $179 million for generational money like that, coming from,
And deserved, too.
Yeah,
We've all
deserved.
seen how hard he works.
Yeah.
Oh,
he
absolutely.
is a fiend in the weight room.
And he's a good comp for Lamar Jackson because they have a similar style of play.
Run.
Younger.
Yeah, I mean, they're both
very
young.
similar, you're right.
They're
I
both
mean-
young, and like, even though Jalen Hurts didn't win the MVP last year, he was close. I mean,
He was in the-
until he got hurt at the end of the year. He's right in the discussion.
In the conversation.
I think he had an equivalent, somewhat equivalent season to Lamar's MVP season. Now,
That's fair.
in fairness to Lamar, Jalen Hurts had way more talent around him on offense than Lamar did. Especially, I mean, look at the two great receivers he has with A.J. Brown
and the
Devontae
offensive
Smith.
line.
Offensive line, they got a really good tight end. So he has better talent around him. But so, okay.
Is that are you surprised at all by the total figure?
Wait, and it gets even more. There's
Hold on.
more details come out from Tom Pelissero. Quote, the monster deal also includes $15 million in incentives, meaning Hurts can earn up to a record $54 million per year in the new deal and up to $274.3 million total through 2028.
And Aditi has said that Burrow is going to make a smart play and go for a shorter deal because these quarterback deals age out so quickly.
They do, yes.
Look at what Mahomes signed, and when he signed it,
Right.
he's a bargain now. He's the best quarterback in the league.
Yes.
So I think that's right. I think Aditi's absolutely right on the money. I think Burrow is probably going to go for a much shorter deal so he can bank on himself long term and get the new big money every 3 years or so.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather him sign a long-term deal, but if I'm Joe Burrow, if I'm a player like Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert or who else is up for an extension? Well, Hurts just signed his extension. I would rather sign a 3-4 year deal because then especially because they're young and they're still going to be in their 20s. But at this point, this contract hurts Lamar Jackson's argument about fully guaranteed. I think what we realize now.
I think it just about books that he's not going to get a fully guaranteed.
Deshaun Watson's contract is the anomaly. It's not. We wondered, would that become the rule or the exception? It's the exception.
I think you're right. I think everybody else is looking at the Browns saying that can be the path you take. We're not taking that path.
I don't agree because it's not. Jalen Hurts is not a top 5 guy.
He was last year.
Well, you got to think about it. Jalen Hurts is a guy who runs and throws the ball.
Yeah.
The guys that get the big bags of money are the guys who don't get hurt, who they don't run a lot. They throw the ball from the pocket.
Yeah.
And you got to think about it. Those guys are cool, but if Joe Burrow say I want a guaranteed contract, he gonna get it.
He may. He might be the outlier.
They have no chance.
But to Bull's initial point was, we thought, there's a new way of doing business in the NFL, and that's not true.
No, it's not. And now, again, you may be right. Maybe Burrow does get everything guaranteed.
I think if there's a guy out there that will, it will be Burrow.
And if he doesn't, then Lamar's completely out. Got no chance. But because I don't think he will. I think he's going to get a ton of money. I think we're now to a point where it's a higher percentage of guaranteed money than it's been in the past.
Right.
But I don't think I think even Burrow is not getting 100% guaranteed.
This is only 2/3 guaranteed.
Right, which is a lot.
It's huge.
And if Jalen Hurts stays healthy, there's no reason he wouldn't get the whole contract.
You're right.
I don't think Burrow will ask for it because he's going to have prohibitive.
He could
measures.
if he wanted. You're right.
Yeah, like he's not going to do it because he's looking around like, well, I got receivers to pay for.
Right.
I got Chase, and I want to keep T. Higgins, and I want. So he would not do it. So, but here's the thing: if Lamar Jackson wanted a fully guaranteed contract,
which he does,
if he does, I've always said it, Lamar, go in and tell him I want 3 years, $175 million.
Well, they made close to that offer. They offered 3.
Reportedly, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they were very close to that number. That's not what he's looking for. He's looking for the 5,250.
Yeah.
But see, if you want the guaranteed dollars where every cent is taken care of, if you gonna say 3 for 175, just go up a little more. Just say give me 4 for 200 guaranteed.
I think that conversation probably happened because that would be the exact middle point of where the Ravens were and where Lamar was. But the Ravens haven't moved, and really the Ravens now are in an interesting situation. They could just sit back and say, let the market tell us what you're worth.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's interesting. Once the draft's next week, right? Next Thursday.
That's when I think things will happen, right?
After the draft.
Sure.
If the Colts or the Falcons or who else? Houston.
I mean, the Jets are still in limbo.
Yeah. I mean,
we don't know.
Right. That situation's kind of hanging out
I had
there.
thought that perhaps that deal could be done before the draft, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen.
At the moment. Everything's been quiet on that front. But will one of these teams at that point say, hey, let's go after Lamar?
We'll find out.
If when it's their turn to draft, there's not a quarterback they like in this draft.
We talked about it when the Browns did the Watson deal. Well, they did it because they were desperate, and it was their only option.
Right.
So when we get past the draft and there are teams looking and they're out of options, that's maybe when that price will get ratcheted up. I don't think he's going to get Deshaun money. I just don't. He may get somewhere where Jalen just signed, 3 to 4 in your area, 150 to 180 million. But right now, I just can't see him. And he has said he wants the money that Deshaun got. He wants that money.
I don't think there's any way he's getting it. He's not in the problem for him is he's not in the same position that Deshaun Watson was. Deshaun Watson was getting traded. He controlled where he was traded to.
Yeah.
And there were multiple teams competing for his services. He was in a position to demand pretty much whatever he wanted. Whereas Lamar is not, because teams in that situation, like right now, the Ravens have some control of the situation. So there may be some teams that are like, well, I'm not going to even bid on them because the Ravens are going to match it.
Right.
That's why I think some of these teams have stayed out of that. And again, maybe it changes after the draft, but it's not the exact same situation.
No, it is different.